I told you I was going to Tennessee to get a brand new fuel pump for my Honda Goldwing. What I didn't tell you is that that fuel pump would be installed into a brand new 2024 Goldwing Tour DCT.
This video is sponsored by Cruiseman's Garage Honda Goldwing Maintenance Video Series.
Well, I made it to my hotel here in Jackson, Mississippi. I'm on my way home. If all goes as planned, I'll be home tomorrow. I will be riding in the rain, I suspect, because the forecast is it's going to start raining tonight and rain most of the morning tomorrow, which I'm not crazy about. I mean, if you watch the intro, you know I now have a brand new 2024 Honda Goldwing Tour DCT. Very excited. I rode about 380 miles today. This bike's running great. A couple of little issues I'll talk about later on. I'm going to do like a review video of this new motorcycle. So stay tuned for that. Make sure you watch that. I've got a lot of stuff on my plate the next few days, and I'll talk about this in the MOTOVLOG, so you'll get that anyway. But I did want to let you know that my Insta360 X3, the 360 degree camera that's mounted up on the mirror mount that Traction created, that camera, for some reason, it froze up during my MOTOVLOG, and apparently the file is corrupted. So I don't have any footage of me riding the bike. All my footage is from my Insta360 Ace Pro, which was on my helmet. So I apologize, you're only going to get one view today. But that's the camera that I use to record my audio, so all of the other information is relevant. Hey y'all, Cruiseman here, back with another Cruiseman's MOTOVLOG. Today I'm riding back to Dallas-Fort Worth from Eastridge, Tennessee. I was just at Southern Power Sports yesterday, and I traded my 2018 Goldwing Tour DCT for a brand new 2024 Goldwing Tour DCT. Hey everybody, Cruiseman here. I'm with Kyle at Southern Honda Power Sports, and I mentioned to you that I was out here to get a new fuel pump for my Honda Goldwing because of the recall. I didn't tell you the whole truth. So, Kyle, what are we doing today?
Well, we traded Cruiseman here out of his 18 into a new 2024.
Look at that. From the 2018 to the 2024, and this is what I'll be riding home tomorrow. So let me tell you how this all went down. I originally contacted Kyle. You know, we had done a podcast a while back. If you have not seen that podcast, I'll put a link to it up in this video. Make sure you check it out. It's really interesting. And I contacted Kyle. I think I texted him and I said, you know, I really would like to make a ride out to Tennessee. I need to see some folks, and it's just been a while since I've been out there. And I thought while I'm out there, I'd get you to replace the fuel pump on my 2018 Goldwing, because I don't really know any service techs in the Dallas area. So I'm not real comfortable with them because I just don't use them anymore. My great service tech that I had for many years is gone. He left the dealership, he retired. So that's when Kyle suggested that maybe I should consider trading for a 2024. And I gave it a lot of consideration, and the reason I didn't tell up front that this was going to transpire, in fact I didn't tell anybody until I got to Tennessee, because number one, I wanted to look at the bike. I wanted to make sure, you know, it met all my pre-inspection requirements. You know, I want to make sure, because so, you know, anything, a deal can always fall through, right? So I didn't want to pre-announce that something was going to happen and then it not happen, then I look like a jerk. So I got to Southern Honda Power Sports yesterday morning, and Mac from Gold Rider 1 channel, you may check out his channel, he and I met. That morning, he was there early. He got there about 8:30. I was supposed to have a meet and greet from 9 to 11. He got there early. He was on his Bluebell, which is his 2022 Bagger Goldwing DCT. And we were just standing around talking, and he started mentioning, and he kind of put two and two together. He speculated. I didn't say anything to him, but he kind of, I think, had a hint that I was going to probably end up getting a new bike. But I didn't want to, you know, I still didn't want to commit until I'd had a chance to sit down with Kyle and actually do the deal. So we're talking, and he starts talking about how he felt like he had a little buyer's remorse with his Bagger model because there's a lot of times he wished he had a trunk. He had a top box to put his coat and his helmet in when he stopped someplace to go eat or whatever. And he noticed through the window, the dealership wasn't open yet, but he noticed they had a black 2023 tour model DCT sitting on the showroom. And I told him, I said, man, I'll bet Kyle might be able to make you a deal on that 2023 since it's left over. I said, you need to at least talk to him. Now you got to remember, Mac only has about 800 miles on his Goldwing. It's brand new. He's only had it a few months, and he got it, I think he bought it in Florida, if I remember correctly. So once the dealership opened up, I introduced him to Kyle, who is the director of operations, and I just let them talk. And the main reason Mac bought that Bagger model is because he's had a couple of knee replacements, and he has a hard time getting his leg over the seat on a tour model, whereas on a Bagger he can just kind of swing his leg around to get on the bike. And I told him about my friend Don Smith, who used to step on the foot peg to mount the bike. And I said, you know, you can step on the foot peg to mount the bike, and it's a lot less stressful on your knee to do that. Well, he didn't know that. And so once I introduced him to Kyle, I had Kyle demonstrate to him how to do that, because that's the way Kyle gets on the bike. He always steps on the foot peg and puts his leg over the seat. Well, that was a game changer. And I'm not going to tell the whole story of, I'll just cut to the chase and tell you that Mac ended up going home on a brand new Goldwing. Now, I'm not going to spoil the rest of what year models and colors and everything. I'll let him do that on his channel. Check out Gold Rider 1. But he did end up getting a brand new Goldwing. And I think he is now a big fan of Southern Honda Power Sports, as am I. Now, I'm going to tell you a little bit about why, if you're in the market for a Honda Goldwing, you should consider Southern Honda Power Sports. Now, I drove almost 1,000 miles, rode my bike to trade it in. I didn't have to. I could have trailered it. You know, I could have had it shipped there and then flown into Chattanooga, picked up the bike and ridden it home or whatever. I just chose to road because, honestly, I did want to make a ride to Tennessee. And I had a beautiful 2 or 3 days of riding. It's very nice. So, if you're in the market for a Honda Goldwing, you want to make sure you check out Southern Honda, because they will make you a deal. Now, I learned something else. They had a lot of airbag models and they had a lot of manual shift models. They're running low on DCTs right now. But I know I get emails from some of you folks interested in a manual shift Goldwing. And a lot of you are interested in an airbag model. Let me tell you something. When Southern Honda orders from Honda, they might place an order for 50 Goldwings or however many, I don't know. But I have a feeling that Honda kind of, I'm not going to say they force them to take it, but I think they ship them a lot of airbags and manuals because they know Southern Honda's a big enough dealer, they'll move them. And they're just not as popular. They don't sell as well as the DCT non-airbag. So they end up with some manual shift models and some airbag models. They have more inventory of that than anything else. So if you're in the market for an airbag Goldwing or a manual shift Goldwing, I suspect if you contact Kyle or one of the sales reps there at Southern Honda, make sure you tell them that you heard about the dealership through Cruiseman's Garage. I don't get a commission or anything, but I just like them to know this is where you heard about it. I suspect they're going to make you a really good deal on either an airbag or a manual transmission model. And they had them in gray and they had them in white. They had about 7 white ones lined up with manual transmissions. And those are great bikes. And some of you guys out there, you insist on having a manual shift transmission, which is great. So please do yourself a favor. Even if you have to spend a little money to get an airline ticket to fly to Chattanooga, they'll set you up where you can get a hotel nearby. My hotel was only 2 miles from the dealership. They'll pick you up at the hotel. They'll bring you to the dealership. These guys know how to sell Hondas. They know how to sell Goldwings. So that's all I'm going to say. I'm not sponsored. They're not paying me to say this. I'm just telling you what my experience was. I want to thank everybody at Southern Honda for making it a very easy and pleasurable experience. I'm on my way to Jackson, Mississippi right now, where I'll be spending the night. It's about a 380-mile ride today. It's my first ride, other than riding from the dealership to my hotel last night. This is my first ride on this 2024. I've already noticed a few things. Of course, I don't have all the accessories on this bike yet that I had on my 2018. So Southern Honda is going to be shipping some of those Honda accessories like Home Link and like the air deflectors. In fact, the only accessory that's on this bike right now is they did install a set of Gold Strike highway pegs on here, which I haven't even tried out yet. I haven't extended my legs yet. But I don't have the trunk light in yet, and the harness and all that stuff. But all that's coming, and I'll be doing videos on all that stuff, so get ready for some videos of me installing some of these Honda line accessories. I also don't have my Muth mirrors, which I really miss. I love those Muth signal mirrors with the sequential turn signals. I don't have my GPS mounted yet for the Garmin. So this is a bone stock, except for I did insist that I get to keep my F4 Customs windshield. So they took the windshield off this bike, put it on my 2018. So whoever buys my 2018 Goldwing is going to get a brand new Honda windshield. I did want my F4 Customs. And before I left home, just to be safe, just to make sure I got to keep it, I went ahead and removed, and I took a risk doing it, but I did remove my traction engine guard. So right now I'm riding without a traction engine guard. Had I known that Southern Honda would have gladly swapped it out for me, I could have ridden up here with the engine guard and they would have swapped it, because they did for Mac. They swapped his out right there while he waited. I didn't know they would do that. These guys know how to treat customers. They really, really do. They're not just a bargain dealership where you get the best deal, but you're also going to get the best service, which is, that was unexpected. I wasn't expecting that. I thought, you get a discounted deal, you probably can't expect much. Well, that's not true. I'm excited to get home, obviously wash this bike. Now, I did put some track armor on the front and on the mirrors, just because in case I decide to do a ceramic coat on the paint when I get back. I didn't want to have to do a lot of buffing and polishing from any little, dust nibs and things that get in the paint on the highway. So I went ahead and used some track armor, which I've never used before. This is the first time, but I can think of a lot of uses for it now. I put a little piece on the trunk. I put them on the mirrors. You can kind of see, maybe you can see it bubbling up. I didn't do a very good job. I just wanted to protect the paint. It's basically a paint protection film, and a lot of guys use it when they take their nice cars to a track, like say you've got a new C8 Corvette and you want to do a track day, but you don't want to get it all scratched up, from rock chips or something to paint. You can use this track armor, put it on your paint, and it will protect your paint, but it's temporary. You just peel it off. It's not like a typical paint protection film that's designed to last, for a long period of time. It's really just something to get you through a day or two of riding, like I'm doing it for. So you might check it out, track armor. I think you can get it on Amazon. I'll put a link. If I can find it on Amazon, I'll put a link in the description of the video, because I'm going to use it anytime I'm working on the bike and I'm afraid I might scratch the paint or something. I'll just throw some of this track armor on. Like, for example, when I install HomeLink, I'm going to use the shortcut of flipping this center panel up over. Well, I can put track armor down here on all these parts, so that, and on my lens, my dash lens, I'll put a piece of track armor on there, because there's always a chance you're going to bump something or scratch something. And it's going to be perfect for that. It's so easy. Now I'll also put towels down, but you never can have too much protection for your paint. Now, one other accessory they did swap over for me. They swapped over my little ram ball here on the handlebars, which I'm not using it yet for anything. And they swapped over my traction action cam mount over here. Now, this is the prototype. I say prototype. I was one of the first 12 people to get this action camera mount. And I saw Max's video a couple days ago where he's going to be making some modifications. And hopefully he'll send me another one to try out. I love it. There's a couple of little tweaks I can see that need to be made, but even in its existing form, I'm using it right now. That's the video I'm getting up here on my 360 camera, and it's very cool. I really love it. Anybody that motovlogs or does any kind of video, GoPro, action cam type footage is going to want that traction action mount. because you don't have to mess with mounting something to your handlebars. You don't get the vibration through the handlebars. Those rear view mirror mounts are solid. So that's my big reveal for the day. I want to thank everybody that came out to Southern Honda Power Sports for the meet and greet yesterday. Made a bunch of new friends. Also, I want to thank Charlie Brown. He was there. I think he's kind of like a permanent resident there at Southern Honda. He's got his own little corner room set up with a sofa and everything. And Charlie actually prepped this bike for me. He, without my knowledge until I picked it up, but he told me he does a lot of their new bike prep. So he made sure it was all polished and showroom beautiful, and he did an amazing job. The bike just looked, when I picked it up, it looked incredible. And so thank you, Charlie Brown, for all your work. He's got an incredible story, and thanks to Robert. Enjoyed meeting you and a bunch of the gang. They just kind of hang out there, especially on Saturdays. There's a group of guys that just kind of like a barbershop group. They just kind of hang around and talk about motorcycles, kind of like my Sunday awake breakfast crowd. I say mine, it's not mine, it's just a group of guys that get together. I will be making a ride video with very little talking, just showing you some of the scenery. I'm taking the interstates today. I don't like riding on interstates, but I have to get back in a hurry. Oh, I also want to apologize to some other people that I had hoped I would be able to get to see on this trip. I was hoping I'd get down to see Max at Traction, because he was only an hour and a half away. But that's 3 hours round trip plus spending 2 or 3 hours there, so it's basically a day. I'd also hoped to get up to see my friends at Bon Armour, Kristen and Eddie. I didn't get a chance to see them, and I was even going to ride up to the Asheville area and see John Struhar, another friend of mine. And I want to apologize to all of you for not getting up there, because what happened is the day as I was riding out to Tennessee, I got a call from the trucking company that's shipping me a new Honda to review. And it's going to be at my home on Tuesday, and I have to be there to pick up the bike and ride it to the house, and because it comes on a big semi, and so I have to ride it to my house and put it in the garage and lock it up and everything so I can review that bike. And it will be a Honda Rebel 1100 DCT. More about that later. Thanks for joining me. If you liked this video, please give it a thumbs up. Don't forget to share it with your friends on your other social media. And if you haven't done so already, please subscribe. Don't forget to hit the notification bell. So I'll see you on the next Cruiseman's Motovlogs, or Cruiseman's Review, or Crown and Comments. Next Crown and Comments, we're going to talk about the 2025 Anniversary Edition Goldwing. I'm going to tell you everything I know about it. And until then, remember what I always say: ride often, but ride safe.